Hey, welcome back to my Sports Nation channel about this video. Have you ever wondered how Karim Benzema, one of the premier strikers of our generation, reached the pinnacle of football, overcoming all conceivable controversies, criticisms, and career-threatening challenges? This is what anybody would conjure up for a script. The creation of an elite natural athlete who is endowed with every talent that most would just sit and envy, but with follies and bad habits that have effectively brought close to everything he has worked for to being wrecked. Today we take you beyond that curtain to see the not-so-familiar in Karim Benzema. This is something way beyond the tape of highlights or an anthology of goal scoring. This is the man's story, his top 5 vices, the ones that are likely to have hampered his development, even putting everything on hold at times. Trust me, this is something that you would want to stay till the end because the last of the vices is one that will completely redefine your view on them. Over-exaggeration of efforts is either seen or mistaken for that confidence, which in turn brings about an attitude as a must-have quality for a world-class athlete. Fair enough. No one can take that away from Benzema. Confidence is very much in the cards for a player who nets goals in tons and hundreds, has trophies of Champions League hanging on the walls of his body, and goes club and nation leading. All the same, there have been centuries when confidence turned into arrogance at times, be it the acts of him performing silly solo dribble stunts to try to reach glory rather than a pass to the straight-up easy goal, or even when he would try to take unrealistic angles to take shots, instead of making the convenient pass to a teammate for. It would be fair and accurate to say that trusting his abilities had brought Benzema's team down on several occasions, more often than not than lifting them up. It was always in textbook fashion, where greatness danced with madness. The same habit during his initial stages at Real Madrid invited much censure from the fans and coaches who claimed Benzema was so much obsessed with demonstrating that he could make solo stardom that he did not consider the team as a factor in making a success. And when your team comprises the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, and Luka Modric, this sort of behavior is not easy to conceal. But such things extended outside the playing grounds, with his body language and press conferences sometimes having the tone of being too lofty to get criticism. When the angels meet with the devils in balance, he would receive a healthy dose of arm twists into the skin with a scream from Mother Earth. And for Benzema, it would take years to learn the lesson. Then there is the issue of teetering and unsteady relationships with teammates. One of the most documented aspects of Benzema's career is that he was actually caught on camera to be bad-mouthing fellow French striker Olivier Giroud, comparing himself to a Formula One car and Giroud to a go-kart. While fans would approve of his bravado, others would see a more nuanced problem, an unwillingness to respect his teammates, and a tendency to create division within the squad. And this was not a solitary incident. Various reports coming out from within the French national team have always described Benzema as distant, cold, and sometimes quite difficult to work with. The long absence from international duty was not just about legal troubles, but also about chemistry or lack of it. There were times at Real Madrid where he seemed odds on to some players, especially when fighting his corner to get a permanent starting spot. Ironically, the man is a natural leader, and this inability to develop strong locker room ties may cost him years of glory with the French national team. It's underrated, but within the world of elite football camaraderie off the pitch may be as important as what happens on it. Now let's talk about something that could really touch him physically: inconsistency in fitness and training discipline. Making rounds in the early 2010s was news expressing concern about Benzema's commitment to maintaining himself in peak form. He often returned round after round of vacations already out of shape and sluggish in preseason matches. Even some of his earlier coaches readily questioned his work ethic and suggested the guy coasted through training sessions because his natural talent had him set. This inconsistency not only affected sharpness, but also endangered carrying injuries. In a game that relies on speed and agility and precision, a pound or a fraction of a second too late in reaction may mean the difference between scoring or not scoring. In the end, though, Benzema turned around, especially in the last part of his Real Madrid career, but for much of the fan base, it was already too late. His early reputation as someone who didn't respect the grind is one very strong mountain that he had to climb. And it's a reminder that talent alone isn't enough. Dedication behind the scenes is what separates the good from the truly great. Of course, to talk about capturing the evils of Benzema, one has to bring in the off-the-field controversies, which have been overshadowing his brilliance over the years. The one most scandalous is the blackmail case that is affecting the French national team between him and his fellow teammate, Mathieu Valbuena. Be it evil or not, The aftermath has been a nuclear one. He was thrown out of the national team for a few years, and of course, this also meant a huge dent in his public image. Distance from sponsors, media turned against him, and most fans started questioning whether personal life had come in the way with his responsibility as a professional athlete. Not the last controversy. Benzema had friends to dubious places, and again made news with his lifestyle of night partying and meeting celebrities, not counting those times when someone actually wrote stories that could well blow things way out of proportion. Trouble seemed much revolving around developing a stereotype of Benzema as a problem child, incredibly gifted with football abilities, always bringing in trouble. In fact, these were distractions that did not just affect public perception, but would have rolled into club considerations, media treatment, and all the coaching strategies toward him with regards to issues where he was concerned as a leader. And the longest, most tangled thread of a bad habit, playing with a chip on your shoulder. He is one of the men who have not doubted cast a derisive gaze on them and thrown overboard more times in his life than most superstars at the top level. Then there are those little annoying things which, with such simple overshadowing as finding a Cristiano Ronaldo Benzema, has quite the synergion to his melancholy hormonal calculus. Amidst this chaotic withdrawal from the French squad, of exile from the critical scrutiny of the media, certainly for such performances during the incredible Champions League runs of Real Madrid, and for those much more, reality has been denied, at least in front of the cameras. That much has also been a source of a lot of turmoil within him. One can see it on the pitch in his demeanor, the grim expressions, the frustration when a pass isn't returned, and the subtle anger when things don't go his way. It's almost as if he's forever trying to prove something even if he doesn't need to. This emotional burden, this continuous fight against the whole world, has been his greatest weapon and biggest weakness. It has taken him to heights that very few players could aspire to, but it has also forged a distance to make him difficult to coach and harder to connect with. It's the tragedy of Karim Benzema's brilliance. His very strongest asset, ironically, is also the thing that has caused him most pain. Karim Benzema embodies far more than just football. He has become a symbol of resilience, redemption, and the very human and sometimes very conflicting humanity. Most of his flaws and drawbacks include an overdose of self-confidence, absence of any peer relationships with fellow teammates, sporadic fitness levels, personal controversies, and extreme emotional behavior, nothing that could deepen his legend status as one of the biggest. If anything, that renders his story even more impressive. Greatness encompasses imperfection, not perfection. True greatness lies in that overcoming imperfections and rewriting your legacy despite them. So that is what Benzema did. He carved a way from the streets of Lyon to the biggest shines of the world, a way so few could walk through, and he chose to walk it on his terms. If this clip speaks to you, please like and subscribe to get more of these wonderful stories behind the players you think you know. How's that for a comment down below? What do you suppose is Benzema's most striking character, his genius, or his faults? Let's talk. Cheers for now, and until next time, stay motivated.